Pirates. The very word conjures up vivid images, ships flying the Jolly Roger flag, daring sword fights on the high seas, and treasure chests overflowing with gold. We romanticize pirates, picturing them as swashbuckling adventurers who lived by their own rules. But how much of what we think we know about pirates is true? What's the reality behind the myths? The truth, as is often the case, is far more complex and often less glamorous than the legends would have us believe. This essay delves into the captivating world of pirates, separating fact from fiction. We'll explore the historical context that gave rise to piracy, the harsh realities of life at sea, where the daily grind was far from the adventurous tales we hear. The constant threat of disease, starvation, and brutal weather conditions made life incredibly tough for these seafarers. We'll also delve into the stories of some of history's most notorious pirates like Blackbeard and Captain Kidd, who have become legends in their own right. What drove these men to a life of piracy? Was it the lure of treasure, or something deeper? Get ready to embark on a journey into the heart of pirate history, where we'll unravel the truth behind these maritime outlaws. From their daring escapades to their ultimate downfalls, we'll uncover the real stories that have inspired countless books, movies, and legends. Piracy has existed for centuries, wherever there has been maritime trade and wealth to be plundered. However, the period most often associated with pirates, what we call the Golden Age of Piracy, spanned roughly from the late 17th century to the early 18th century. This era saw a surge in piracy, particularly in the Caribbean and off the coast of Africa. Several factors contributed to this rise. European powers were engaged in constant conflict, leading to an abundance of skilled sailors who found themselves unemployed in peacetime. Colonies in the New World were rich in resources and ripe for plunder. The vast Atlantic Ocean, with its many islands and hidden coves, provided ample hiding places for pirates seeking to escape the law. The combination of these factors created a perfect storm that allowed piracy to flourish. Life aboard a pirate ship was a far cry from the romanticized image often portrayed in popular culture. The reality was much grimmer and more perilous than the tales of swashbuckling heroes and buried treasure. Conditions were cramped, unsanitary, and fraught with danger. Pirates lived in squalor with little to no privacy, and the stench of unwashed bodies and rotting food was ever present. Pirates faced disease, storms, and the constant threat of capture or death. The sea was unforgiving, and many pirates succumbed to illnesses like scurvy, dysentery, and malaria. Discipline was harsh and punishments could be brutal. Flogging, keel-hauling, and marooning were common methods to maintain order and instill fear among the crew. Food and water were often scarce, and disease spread rapidly in the close quarters of a ship. Pirates had to ration their supplies carefully, and malnutrition was a constant threat. While some pirates were motivated by greed and the allure of riches, many turned to piracy out of desperation, seeking a way to escape poverty or oppression. For them, piracy was a last resort, a means of survival in a harsh world. While pirate captains were often elected by the crew and had to rule with their consent, life for the average pirate was one of hardship and uncertainty. Decisions were made democratically, but this did not alleviate the daily struggles and dangers faced by the crew. The reality of piracy was a far cry from the romanticized image of a carefree life of adventure on the high seas. It was a life of relentless toil, constant peril, and fleeting moments of triumph amidst overwhelming adversity. The Golden Age of Piracy produced a cast of characters whose exploits have captivated imaginations for centuries. Names like Blackbeard, Bonny, and Mary Read are synonymous with piracy, their stories passed down through history, a blend of fact and fiction. Blackbeard, known for his fearsome appearance and fiery beard, cultivated a terrifying reputation that made him a legend in his own time. Bonny and Mary Read, two of the most famous female pirates, challenged gender norms and carved out their own places in a male-dominated world. These pirates, and many others, have become larger-than-life figures, their stories embellished over time. While their exploits were undoubtedly daring and their lives extraordinary, it's important to remember that the legends surrounding them are often just that. Legends. Section 5X marks the myth-buried treasure and gentleman pirates. Pirates have long captured the imagination of people around the world with tales of adventure, danger, and hidden riches. Many of the myths associated with pirates have been perpetuated by popular culture, particularly through literature and film. From classic novels to blockbuster movies, these stories have shaped our understanding of pirate lore. One of the most enduring myths is that of buried treasure. The idea of a hidden chest filled with gold and jewels marked by an X on a map has fascinated treasure hunters for generations. While pirates did loot ships and accumulate wealth, they rarely buried their treasure. Instead, they preferred to keep their spoils close at hand, ready to be spent or traded. The image of a pirate captain burying chests of gold on a deserted island is more a product of fiction than reality. Stories like Treasure Island have cemented this myth in popular culture. Pirates were more likely to spend their loot on drink, gambling, and other earthly pleasures. Taverns and gambling dens were common haunts for these seafaring outlaws. Another common myth is that of the gentleman pirate, a dashing rogue with a code of honor. This archetype has been romanticized in countless stories and films. While some pirates may have displayed a degree of chivalry or fairness, they were ultimately criminals who operated outside the law. Their lives were often brutal and short, marked by violence and betrayal. The romanticized image of the gentleman pirate is largely a fictional construct. In reality, pirates were feared and reviled, their actions driven by greed and survival rather than any noble code. Section 6. The Jolly Roger's Legacy, Separating Fact from Fiction. The Jolly Roger, the iconic skull and crossbones flag, is perhaps the most recognizable symbol of piracy. But the truth behind its origins and use is more nuanced than many realize. While often associated with pirates, the Jolly Roger was just one of many flags flown by pirates. The designs varied, and some pirates even flew flags with different symbols depending on their target or message. The Jolly Roger was likely adopted as a symbol of intimidation, a way to strike fear into the hearts of their victims and make them more likely to surrender without a fight. The reality is that pirates, like any group of people, were a diverse lot with varying motivations, codes of conduct, and approaches to their trade. Section 7. The Pirate Code Rules of the Seas. Contrary to the romanticized notion of pirates as lawless rogues, many pirate crews operated under a strict code of conduct known as the Pirate Code. These codes, often established democratically by the crew, outlined rules for behavior, discipline, and the division of plunder. The Pirate Code served to maintain order and prevent mutiny on board pirate ships. They often addressed issues such as the division of loot, punishments for transgressions, and how disputes would be settled. The existence of these codes highlights the fact that even in the lawless world of piracy, some semblance of order and structure was necessary for survival. Section 8. The End of the Golden Age, Shifting Tides and Crackdowns. The Golden Age of Piracy didn't last forever. By the early 18th century, European navies began to crack down on piracy, devoting more resources to hunting down and capturing pirate crews. The increased naval presence, combined with the pardoning of some pirates who agreed to cease their activities, led to a decline in piracy. The end of major wars also meant that fewer skilled sailors were out of work and tempted by the allure of piracy. The Golden Age of Piracy gradually came to an end, though piracy in various forms continued in different parts of the world. Section 9. Pirates in Popular Culture, from Treasure Island to Pirates of the Caribbean. The image of the pirate has been shaped and reshaped by popular culture, from classic literature like Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island to blockbuster films like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. These works have cemented certain pirate tropes in the public imagination, from parrots on shoulders and wooden legs to buried treasure and epic sea battles. While entertaining, these depictions often stray far from historical accuracy, perpetuating myths and romanticized notions about pirates. It's important to remember that these works are ultimately products of fiction, designed to entertain rather than educate. Section 10. The Enduring Appeal of Pirates, Why We Remain Captivated. Despite the often harsh realities of their lives, pirates continue to fascinate us. Why are we so drawn to these figures from history? Perhaps it's the allure of freedom and adventure, the idea of living outside the constraints of society and answering to no one. Or maybe it's the romanticism associated with pirates, the image of them as rebels who challenged authority and lived by their own rules. Whatever the reason, pirates continue to capture our imaginations, inspiring books, movies, and countless other works of popular culture. Their stories, though often exaggerated and romanticized, offer a glimpse into a time when the seas were wilder and the world felt a little bit bigger. Section 11. Conclusion: Rethinking Pirates. As we've seen, the reality of pirates was far more complex than the romanticized image often portrayed. While they were undoubtedly skilled sailors and daring adventurers, they were also products of their time, driven by a complex mix of motivations. By separating fact from fiction, we can gain a deeper appreciation for who pirates really were and their place in history. So, the next time you encounter a pirate, whether in a book, a movie, or simply in your imagination, take a moment to consider the reality behind the legend. What do you think? Does knowing the truth about pirates diminish your fascination, or does it make their stories even more compelling?